The name of the workshop. I already forgot the name of the workshop. Thomas, help me. Which one is the name of the workshop? Oh, you are attending to a workshop that you don't know the name. Okay. So, harmony for classical guitarists. Functional harmony for classical guitarists. Why are we speaking about harmony when in the history of the classical guitar training we are more concerned about another things? We are more concerned about the technique, about our playing, about the, in some extent, to play the correct notes, the correct intention. Why to speak about this? For me, there is something that is quite important, that is to understand the difference of what we can of what we want to do. If we like to play guitar, that's beautiful. I love to play guitar. But in one moment in my life, I wanted to be a musician. And for me, there is a small difference that it has to be with being like a really connected with all the musical aspects, theory, harmony, and all the things that it will go beyond only playing guitar. For me, it's about understanding music. So I will read this text that I wrote yesterday that speaks about this. Our job as guitarists is to be interpreters, to transmit the composer's intention of his work. If we think music as a language, then our job will be to deliver this message. Therefore, we must not only say the words, but understand the message in each one of them. Harmony, thought as the emotional support on which the melody is drawn, is a fundamental aspect to understand this message and thus be able to make decisions about how we will finally play a piece. Intensity, the intention, the use of dynamics, all the aspects that goes beyond just playing the notes. Okay? That is like answering the why to think in harmony. The next question that I was playing around with the idea is how? How are we going to use this, right? And I wrote this: by understanding the harmony of any music, or most of the music that are in the tonal system, we will be connected with the message that the composer wants to give. There is an old phrase that I always hear like around my music school, and my guitar teacher used to say me a lot, like every good player has something of a composer, and every good composer has something of a player. Okay? What I want to do with that is that these two layers, composers and performers, guitarists, singers, whatever, we need to have a common language and to understand each other. And for me, theoretical background is a good place for having this common place. Okay? So, with this idea and based on the Venezuelan Waltz number 2 by Antonio Lauro, we will analyze its melody and the harmony to understand the compositional aspects, and then to do everything that you want to do, like to do an arrangement for two guitars or for piano. Shahar, you can play it on the piano. What else? Quartet version, to play it in different keys and all that. That's the reason why I think that harmony is like a very good tool for us. I would love to know if until now someone has a question or something or to say about this. You can say in the chat. We are 50 people. That's a lot. Maybe one or two persons that wants to say something. No? In five, four, three, two, one. Let's go on. So, guitar. Where's my guitar? I don't need the guitar because the first thing that we are going to do, every time that I was going to play any music, my teacher was asking, okay, what have you been hearing? And I was like, I don't know, the music that I like. Yeah, but to play this, what are you hearing? Uh, and in some moment of my life, I was just hearing the piece that I was going to play. And my teacher was saying, oh, no, Moa, don't do that. There is one very important aspect that is to know where does the composition came from. So if we are going to play one of the lute pieces by Bach, let's say like Prelude, Fugue and Allegro, 998, I think, uh, what will what we are going to hear, the version, the lute pieces, yes, but also we have to hear, like for example, the keyboard compositions, because Bach was mainly a keyboard player and a genius in that. Also, we will hear like the choral compositions that are quite important in Bach music. If we are playing Mauro Giuliani, what we will hear? Only Giuliani? No, let's hear Beethoven. They were quite close, they were friends. Giuliani, it wasn't only a guitarist. He played cello and he played in some of the symphonies, like some of the Beethoven symphonies. If we're going to play Sor, we have to hear Mozart. They are like quite connected, especially major in the major pieces. So if we are going to work on a Venezuelan waltz, we have to hear Venezuelan folk. So I will send just now some Venezuelan folk. And the beautiful thing about folk is that it's not only music, it's a cultural thing, it's alive, it has many things. This first video that I will send you is the dance of the joropo, a very important music style over there in Venezuela. So I will give like two, or let me see, it's a very short video. Yeah, 3 minutes. Let's say 3 minutes since now. So you can hear this and watch the dance, okay? Take a look to that.
Why did you send it? Moa, we didn't get the video. Hello, Moa. We didn't get the video. Can you give us the link? No, it's still not come. If you want, you can send it to me on WhatsApp and I'll send it to everyone. Otherwise, you have to check that when you're typing, it should be to everyone.
Moa, you're on mute now.
Did you hear? Yeah, it's nice, right? It has like a joyful mood. Okay.
Aquí voy a verlo a más gente, no te están viendo a ti.
Ah, cool. Thank you. Thomas is my assistant on this. So, for example, for me it's like very important if we are going to play one music, especially if I don't know about that country, I will make a small research always about which kind of music you have over there. That one was an example about folk music. I will send another link that is a longer video for you to check it out. This one, for example, it's Venezuelan waltzes, but for orchestra. Okay, and it's a very nice mixture between all these folk rhythms and Western classical music, European music, Western classical European music. Okay, I will leave the link over there and let's move on. So let's speak a little bit about this music, about the Venezuelan waltz. It's composed in a 3/4, okay, waltz rhythm, 1 2 3 1 2 3. Everybody knows that a little bit, and an important task, yeah, to listen to Venezuelan music. Let's go with some guitar exercise for before the analysis. Okay, this composition is on the key of E minor, right? And for doing this proper analysis of the harmony and melody, we will play like the different scales, the different minor scales, and the harmonized scale. Basically, by saying harmonized scales, in case that you don't know that term, is just play the chords of each one of the notes of the scale. Okay, I will send now to the chat one PDF in case that you don't know these scales, and you can follow over there. It's on a score and tablature, like a so E minor, scales and arpeggio. Did you get the PDF? If you can open that, it will be nice. So let's start. Very basic thing. Let's play the scales. E minor, natural. We don't have to play at the same time. I will show it to you, and please each one do the same in your own speed at your own time. First scale that we have here is natural minor. So we have E, F sharp, G, A, B, C, D, and E. I will play it again. For our melodic analysis, we will play one game that each note now, it doesn't have a name, it has a number. So this is 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, but instead of 8, let's say 1, because it's the same note. So 1 7 6 5 4 3 2 1. Okay, please each one in your house, in your place, in your quarantine place, do the minor natural Pau is over there. Cool. Pau is a genius on all this. So after that, we have harmonic minor. Harmonic minor, it's almost the same, but the seventh note, it's sharp. So it will be 1, 2, and do it going down. Jazz players know a lot about how to study scales, like to create different combinations. 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4.
Indians know also.
Indians, yeah, no, but they are like the way beyond, like it's amazing. So also use all those resources, okay? And then we have melodic minor. The 6 and the 7, it's sharp. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 1, 7, 6, 5, 4, 8. Okay? These 3 scales will be the one that are going to be in the whole piece, okay? Here, like we have the chord progression. We will not going to play this because we will use only some of the chords, and that's the thing that we are going to do now. We will play only the chords of this music, so each one must have a PDF with only the melody and the chords. I will put it here also in case you don't have it. Oh, I will try to send you to you, Vinay.
Det är mute. Vad är det sant?
Hmm?
Det är mute.
No?
Oh, déjame, creo que no pudieron ver el video.
¿Sí? ¿No pudieron ver el video?
Sí, no lo vieron el video.
Wait just a minute. So, everybody can hear me? Let's do like this. Cool. So, someone has the mic open, please shut it down, shut it off. And let's play the waltz. We will do next. We will do, let me open here. We will play only the chords that we have in the PDF. I was going to send it, sorry. Here in the chat. Must be over there, it is. Did you receive it? Um, let's see, Vinay. I will send it again. And also, let's do this, Vinay. You can go to the Facebook event, and over there it is the link. It's the link to the PDF. Okay. So let's do something. Everybody can hear me. If someone cannot hear me, like you can't hear, make like this. Yes. If someone can't hear me, do like this. If you can't hear me. Well, there are some videos that are off, so I cannot see all of you. I'm seeing someone dancing over there. Mayang, you have a dancer behind you. Yes, cool. Cool, so everybody can hear me. Let's go with this, with the PDF. You have it over there. There is one that says Waltz number 2, figurate melody and harmony. We go to that and we have chords over the melody. We are not going to read the melody, we are only going to play the chords that we have over the melody. Let's do this in a very simple way. We will play only the chords in the root position. What does it mean this? That the second chord that it says E7 with bass in G sharp, let's not do the G sharp bass. Let's just do the E7, okay? So I will show you with a very basic rhythm of waltz, like the chord progression. Okay. Okay. That's the first part. Thomas, you have a flute here?
No.
You want to get one and help me a little bit, and the guys can hear you play flute?
Okay.
Cool. So, this way of playing the guitar, it's a simple one. Let me show you. The right hand, we will do basically the thumb in the 1, and in the 2 and the 3 we will play the chords with these 3 fingers. And we're going to change all the chords, going through all of them. Okay? In the folk music of Venezuela, they have a very particular way of playing this. They have like what we call rasgueo. And it has like some strokes. It's a very particular. It's quite difficult for me because I'm not from Venezuela and I'm more like a classical guitarist than a folk guitarist. But I will show you a little bit how is the technique here in the right hand. Thomas went for his flute. So, a very particular thing about learning how to play only the chords of any music is this possibility. If you have a friend that plays the bansuri, the flute, you can play this tune with your friend. And what happens if we only play like the... We are playing the fixed music that Antonio Lauro wrote for the guitar. That's good, but what I think that is more fun is to be like more flexible, more free about the way that you can play. If we search in the history of the greatest composers of guitars, they were guitarists, like Antonio Lauro, Agustín Barrios from Paraguay. They were like amazing guitarists and composers, and they were improvising. In some extent, my admiration that I have for jazz musicians is that one, because they play, they are performers, at the same time they are composers, and they improvise. All the three things that I really love about Bach, about Mozart, about Beethoven, they were like amazing improvising. There are many letters speaking about these big improvisations that they were doing. So for me it's like a very beautiful thing that it has this possibility about knowing the harmony. So if my friend is close here, not yet. I will show a little bit about the chords. Just as I was saying, if you don't know the chords, you can search all this on the internet. It's quite easy to find all this information. The idea is to speak about what to do with this. So, first chord, E minor. Next chord, E7, is that finger. Next chord, A minor. So I have only one bar of E minor, one bar of E7, and two bars of A minor. Okay? So over there it is Thomas. Say hello to Thomas. We will play a little bit this music. You know it? You need to read?
Maybe remember.
Okay. That's a cool thing. Maybe I will remember. Is to trust in your ear, to trust in the musical experience and all that. So, want to do it?
Want to see?
what we are trying to do the whole time is like to play on the tempo of the music, because this is inspired in a dance. So that's a very good tip about how to play this music. You have to feel it just like if you were dancing. If you cannot dance when you are playing this, maybe we should try to develop something about it. ¿Ok?
Ya
Do-
no te estoy enfocando.
¿Cómo?
No, sácame la cámara.
Okay, Thomas don't want to be on the screen. Now, it's only me. So, a very important thing for me to develop about learning harmony is to all this music that is so beautiful, and they have like a guitar arrangement. And when I say guitar arrangement, we have the melody. We have the melody, first element. Maybe this thing can be like someone can sing this. We have the bass. I will play the melody and the bass. Okay? And we have like a chord in between. We have another note that everything together, we can say that that's the arrangement. We have like a three-dimensional music. We have the melody on the front, we have the bass here, and we have some notes in between. So the arrangement, it is the thing that we are reading. Okay? But for me, and especially like it's a very personal thing that I think that took me to this place, is that I wanted to play with my friend, with Thomas, and with another friends, and with singers. And maybe in that instrument you cannot play it on E minor, let's say. It's not a comfortable key, so I need to have the power to play this music in another key. If I want to do an arrangement for a guitar ensemble, just like over there in Kolkata in the festival, maybe we'll have to change the key so everybody will feel more comfortable playing this. So this is a music tool that is very good, especially when you are like older in music and you are teaching and you are having some bands like chamber music. It's very important to have this ability of understanding the harmony. Okay? Until now, there is any question? We have the chat. If you have any question, this is a good moment. No? In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Let's go on. What chord shape did you use for B7? Okay, B7, I use this one. Okay, it's finger 2 on the 2nd fret of the 5th, finger 1 on the 1st fret of the 4th, finger 3 on the 2nd fret of the 3rd string, open B 2nd string, and in the 2nd fret of the 1st string, the finger 4. I really like that one. You can use this one. And that's a very particular thing. When I was playing with Thomas, I was also like traveling around the guitar, so it's very good to know this shape, this shape, this another shape, this another shape, to know all the shapes of all the chords. It's a very hard work to do, but it's a very useful one. And here we have Another question. The video that you sent, Joropo, started slow, went faster later on. Should we also need to follow something like this? Yes, for example, in the music that we are like studying, like the Antonio Lauro's Waltz, we don't need to do that because if he, as a composer, wanted that, he will write like a slow tempo and faster tempo. Okay? I usually play slow and go slower later on. Don't understand quite good. Yes, but this is the video that I sent is just a particular way of playing this music. It's not like a rule. So let's go. Last question, and we move on to do another things. When Thomas was playing flute, there are some additional chords than those three. Oh, okay. Ah, and that's Siddhartha, nice. And Pau also asks that I think that these two questions are related. Which different bases do you use in the chords of two parts? Yeah, this is a quite theoretical thing, but I can show you a little bit about how this is made. Siddhartha, the answer is yes and no. Additional chords, it's not the proper word, but I'm using a lot of chords, right? The thing is that I'm just thinking in those three chords. So for only E minor, I have this position, I have, sorry, well, that's not an E minor. This one, this one, this one. For starting, just playing all the notes of the guitar. Then you can play less notes. You can do like play like a lower register. And now this is connected with Pau. I can change the bass note, but it's the same chord. So, for example, first chord E minor, next one E major, but I'm doing this bass, the third, E, F, G sharp. And I'm using that one because in the original tune we have that. We have the G sharp. So I'm choosing basses also like I'm choosing notes that are like connected also with the idea of Antonio Lauro. For example, in this chord, A minor, we have two bars. So I decide to do the first one, playing the A, the fifth open string, and the next one, I was playing the C note. This is called first inversion, okay? So if I have an A and a C, you can move on in between. So I will do a little bit of this move in between with the bass. Okay? That's for doing all this is the reason why I think that we all should know and to learn about harmony, because it will give you that like kind of superpower. I like to think it's like to have a superpower. When you are hearing this music, you have like the superpower of hearing which one are the chords. So we have a simple way of playing one music that maybe is too complicated, especially when you are starting to play guitar. Okay? So especially for teachers also, it's like very interesting when we play like some of this music and little students that are just starting in the guitar, sometimes we want to work about rhythm and to have like a good basis on that. So why not to play the chords? And that will give a chord work for the students. And most beautiful is that you can play the melody and you are playing together with the students. So maybe in their first month of class, they can play this Venezuelan waltz that they are going to play in the future, like 1 year, 2 years, whatever. In the future, they will play the guitar arrangement of Antonio Lauro, but they just start playing this, just like in the folk way that Antonio Lauro was thinking this music. So that's a very good possibility. Okay, let's move on a little bit. The idea for you is to practice the whole song in your house, playing just the chords. Okay. Now we will do something that maybe can be difficult at the beginning, but we will do it together. And we will try to play this same chord progression, but in another keys. Okay? As I was saying, this music, it's on E minor. But we can change keys, and the music, it will be the same. Okay? You will recognize this melody, it doesn't matter in which key we are playing. And I was just putting some videos on Instagram and Facebook about that. I will do it just like this, maybe it's better. This one is the original one, E minor. Now I will play the same thing on A minor, for example. So in my head, in my kind of superpower harmony thing that we are trying to connect, I'm going to think in the chords. So if I am in A minor, I'm so sorry, but I will sing. I will work on my singing, I promise. But I'm thinking on the chords of the song. And then I'm thinking on the notes of the melody. And that's why to know the scales are so good. Because the original, it's starting in the B, second open note. So if I think in E minor, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm starting in the fifth note. So if I am in A minor, I have to do the same. Count 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the melody note, it will be this one. Okay? And then like this harmonic knowledge come together for doing this a little bit. Okay? Let's do an exercise about this. I want you to, everybody, take your guitar and let's play the melody in the original key that we have on the score. I made this score just especially for not to play the whole arrangement, not to play the bass and the other things. So take your guitar, Pau take your bass, Shahar go to the piano, and each one, this is not like each one is going to play in their own house. We are not going to open each mic, so each one will play only until here, only until the fourth bar. Only until there, okay? Okay, I want you to practice only that part a little bit. I will give 1 minute so everybody will have it. I will play it again so I will also have it. Okay, so nice to see you all, everybody playing. 54 persons playing the same melody, only these 4 bars. Amito is there. Cool. So, everybody ready? You have it? Cool. Now is the thing that I like to call the nerd moment. This is the nerd moment because we will play the same scale that we play at the beginning, and we will say the names, not the names, the numbers of the notes. We will use the melodic minor scale. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay? And I will do the same, but I will stop in the first note of the melody. The first note of the melody is the B, open B, okay? Second string. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The first note now it's not a B, it's a 5. And it will be 5 the rest of our lives. Okay? So if I play just the beginning, we will have these numbers: 5, 6, 7, 1, because it's the E, and every time that we have E, we start all over again. So we have 5, 6, 7, 1. If this is 1, this will be 2. 1, 2. Which note is going to be this one? 1, 2. I have 3 in between. Who's doing like this? Beda. She's studying this. We have the 4. Maybe she's looking the next page. I know it. Okay? So, for example, we're in the PDF, and let's look the next page. And over there we have 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 4. And I want you to do this exercise, to play and at the same time to sing the number. Also, it's very important to sing. I will know that someone, when I was a kid, forced me to sing. No one did. I was just playing guitar. and there you go. 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 4, 3, 2, 3, just until there. Okay? 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 4. I will give some minutes so you can play and sing the numbers. As you can see, it's not difficult to play, but it's a different way of thinking the music. And that's the thing that we want to do, to think in a different way. Just some minutes, let's say like 2 minutes. Meows.
¿Está haciendo?
Yes, as you can see, Thomas is also doing this, but in Spanish. 5, 6, 7. 5, 6, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 4, 3, 2, 3.
7 de la otra escala.
Ah, and that's the important moment. We will play only until that D note. Okay? I want some volunteer. Who wants to play and sing in front of everyone? I already did it. If I can do it, you also can do it. Antara, why are you hiding? Volunteer. Who wants to do it? Please write on the chat. If we sing with Sare Gama, it's more beautiful. Please. I will enjoy it. Sare Gama Pada Nisa. So, it's Siddhartha. Go for it. Please turn on your mic because we cannot hear you. Who's playing? Pawan? Is that
Yeah.
you?
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Hello, sir.
Welcome. So, please, let's do this, but let's not only play. We all play guitar, and it's a very good exercise to sing and to play at the same time and to do this number thing. It's the nerd moment for understanding the melody. So, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 4, 3, 2, 3. Just until you can do it. Go for it. Yes, and now with the numbers at the same time singing, or sarega, if you are more comfortable, you will start on the pa. Pa, da, ni, sa, re, ma. Is that correct? Cool. Yes, now singing at the same time. Cool. And now sing the number. And that's the main goal. That's the nerd thing. 5, 6, 7. If you look the PTFs, you have the numbers over each note.
5, 6, 7, 2, 4. 5, 6, 7, 2, 4.
5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 4.
5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 4. 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 4.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Bawan. Someone else, Siddhartha, you wanted to sing it,
No,
right?
I want to ask you one thing that in Indian music there are no tivra sha. So in here, when we got E sharp,
Okay.
so what you call on that position on Spanish language? What you call? You understand? Thomas just singing on Spanish language this sargam.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so in India there are no tivra sa. So E sharp.
Don't worry about the sharps and flats. Meanwhile, you are singing like the position. It's fine just for now.
Okay.
Let's think that Saregamapa is like the system for Indian music. So now we are using it for another theme. Okay? So go for it.
Pa dha ni sa re ma ga re sa ni sa pa sa ni dha pa ma ga ma dha pa ma pa sa ni ga sa ga re dha na just that.
Da pa ma.
Yeah, that is very high pitch.
It's very hard. And for example, for me, it was also very hard when I start to do this with the numbers.
Yeah.
Like for me, it was just like overwhelming. I mean, I was doing this. I was like, I'm not going to do this. I can play the Venezuelan waltz. I can play it like in the speed or faster. But then when I was in like hanging out with a very good friend that he plays like folk music in an amazing way, he was saying, "Hey Moa, let's play this thing, but now in A minor." And it was amazing how this guy, his name is Dante Scorza, he's an amazing guitarist, and he was playing the melody in every key, and he was saying, "No, play the chords." I was having problems just for playing the chords, like in all keys, and he was playing the melody. In between, he was playing some bass notes and other chords and other voices, and I was going crazy about that because it's like he know how to read the score, and he used to play the music just as written. But in South American music, we can say that this music is pretty much alive. The classical guitarist in South American music, and especially in some places in Colombia, in Argentina, sometimes you cannot recognize if they are like folk musicians or they are classical musicians, because over there they have all this thing quite mixed, and that's a very beautiful thing. If you hear any Argentinian guitarist and composer, you can tell that they have a very particular way of playing. They mix a lot their folk music with the classical guitar repertoire. Okay, in the festival we have a Lautaro. Okay, and all his music is not about the fingers. It's about to belong to a place. So he knows very good about the Argentinian music, and you can tell that in the compositions that he has, in the versions that he played about tango music, about Piazzolla. So that's a very cool thing. There was one person that wanted to try, so just one more and we can move on. We have Anand. Okay, just until there. Very good. Who's playing? Anand?
Yes.
Hi man.
Hey,
Please
man.
check the PDF and just play the melody until the bar 4, until the D natural, please.
Uh, Actually, I don't have the PDF. I was just playing from the internet.
Okay, for example, just play the notes of the melody, the higher ones. Just that. And without the bass and without the rest of the notes. We will clean a little bit the score and we will play only the melody.
I'm sorry.
Don't worry.
I'm sorry.
We are here for doing this all together. We will do it.
Yeah, thanks.
Thomas was saying, Moa, that's a good subject. When I was saying, let's clean a little bit this, is that we will work only in one layer. You remember that I was speaking about this score that we have is a guitar arrangement. We have three layers, a three-dimensional music, a melody on the front over there. Oh, you can see my nails. The bass here, and in between we have some chords like a keyboard. We have the bass player like Pau with his bass. We have the bass player. We have the singer here. I'm not the singer. And the keyboard. Shahar on the keyboard. What you are reading is the whole band. I want you to play only what the singer doing. So in the score, how to know that? It's all about the register. The higher notes are the ones of the melody. In this case, it's not always like this. So just until the A. Just until there. Good, until the A. And no bass. Good. We are just playing one layer of the music. That's a very important thing about the studying the guitar repertoire. We have these three-dimensional things, and if we learn every layer step by step to put all together, it will be quite easy. Okay?
Yes, thanks.
Anand, please do it again and sing the numbers. Is 5. So take a look to this. This music is on E minor, so we will do 5, 6, 7, 1 in the moment that you play the E. So let's sing.
5, 6, 7, 1. 5, 6, 7, 1.
And 1 is
5, 6, 7, 1. 5, 6, 7, 1.
good.
Thanks.
So 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 4. It will be. You understand how?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Thanks.
Thank you very much, Anand. So
Thanks.
turn your mic off, please. So let's speak a little bit about what we have done. We are doing this kind of map of where it is the melody. Okay? This map is useful in so many ways that I I can't like put in on words like all the useful thing that this thing has. In the moment that you want to create another guitar, for example, can you play only that? Ready? I will create another guitar, like melodic guitar. 1, 2, 3. I will do another one. 1, 2, 3. I will try to do another one. Like ideas are leaving me. 1, 2, 3. I arrived to the same note as Thomas, so maybe I can play the melody. Let's try to go on. 1, 2, 3. So for example, thank you Thomas, that can be just one guitar of one guitar quartet of an arrangement. And the idea of learning all this harmonic background is that you can be at the same time listening to my friend Thomas playing the melody, and in my head there are many things happening at the same time. Sometimes I'm thinking of what I'm going to eat later, but that's not good. What we will try to keep in our mind is which one is the chord progression, okay? Which ones are the notes of the melody? And having that in mind to create a new line that has some relation with the melody and the harmony. To do this, it's like quite crazy. I will tell you like my experience. I was studying classical guitar during 10 years, beautiful times, and when I end up my studies, I start to join to some friends and they were playing folk music. And sometimes there is a big, we think that we have a big difference with folk musicians. It is in some extent, but music is one universal language. At least that is what I think. I think that Thomas also thinks the same. That's why we are here playing with some beautiful friends that we have met in India and Nepal. And if music is a universal language, we will find a common place. When I was hanging out with my friend, I wasn't finding that place. And I just realized, okay, maybe in the way that I was playing and understanding the music, there is something missing. And that missing part for me, it was to know a little bit more about how does the music works, not how the guitar works, okay? It's very, for example, my guitar teacher, I love him so much. He was like going with me with all the technical things. We were working a lot on that, but we didn't work so much about these subjects. We do have some conversations about this. He's a very young guitarist and curious about all these things because we were feeling that it was something that we were missing. He also came from folk music. When he was just a little boy, he was playing bass in one folk music band. So he noticed how we were missing something. Okay? And so with my teacher, we were like speaking a lot about this. And suddenly I came with my friend Dante Scorza, this amazing guitarist, and I was taking classes with him just to learn to play folk music. And I realized that we were having harmonic classes, because every song we were playing it in different keys. So this is a theoretical thing that maybe some of you have, like when in the place that you are studying, you have this subject, you have theory, maybe you have harmony, analysis, all that, but what is it for if I want only to play guitar? The reason for me, it was to understand what I was playing on the guitar, but I needed to have some kind of system, to have only the theory class and the guitar class, and not to relate each other. I mean, I was 10 years studying with my theory class, and then I wasn't able to play a folk music with 3 chords. Okay? So the idea of this whole workshop is just this, to show you that it's possible to take the theory of music and to have some applications in our way of playing, and finally in our way to understand the music. Okay? I think that we are very close to the final time, so I would love to leave a moment for questions. Is that okay, Beda? Beda is doing like this. So don't hesitate. Any question that you have, please be my guest. From Beda to everyone, I have a big question. If we understand the melody and the chords, how do we decide what notes to put in the harmonic background? That's a big question. I don't know. in some extent, when I was playing this music in another keys, I was having some priority. For me, that's important. More than how to decide which notes to have, when we are playing, for me at least, the most important thing that we should always have is the melody. If I don't have the melody, like if you cannot recognize the melody, it will be difficult to recognize which song, which tune, which composition it is. Okay? So for example, also we can be like very wise about speed. When we are working on this, it's not a thing about speed, it's about understanding. So if I need to play just this slow, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 4, if I need to play that slow, more, less, whatever, just for thinking in the note before playing it, that's the correct speed. Okay? Now, going with the question of Beda. The guitar is a very particular instrument that, let me do a comparison with the piano. The piano, there are some composers that says that the guitar is a small piano, or the guitar is a small orchestra. Okay? In the piano, for one note, you have one key. So, in some extent, Lily, behave. Just a minute. Lily, what are you doing? Go out. Or you want to be in the workshop? No, you don't want. Bye-bye. That's Lily, so beautiful. So, what I was saying. Yeah. The piano. The piano has, for one note, one key. And you have 10 fingers. Okay? piano, in the beginning, you have a easier way to arrive to each note. In the guitar, for one note, we will have several fingerings. Just for this E, we have open E, second string, fifth, in the third, in the ninth, in the 14th, if you are tuned, of course. And we have harmonics. We have this one, in the 7th fret of the 5th, we have the 5th fret of the 6th. So we have different options, and usually only one or two are going to be the correct ones. So the guitar is like a kind of labyrinth. In this labyrinth, I like to always think about to have the most important things. So Beda, let me show you a little bit. I will play the melody on A minor, just the melody. Now I will play only the bass note of the chord that we are playing in the moment. And I will use like the root chord. If the chord is an A, only the A. If it is A7 with bass in C sharp, I will play A. Okay? So. Now it comes a D. And now in this moment, the melody is like kind of crossing with the bass note. So that's, for example, the particular things about the guitar. We have a kind of close register, a not so big register of the instrument, and voices, the different voices can cross between them. But for me, like the important thing is try to go along with this. For example, I will try to go on, even if the voices are crossing a little bit. E, A minor, so fifth, E again. Okay? And when we are doing that, we have some free strings. These free strings that we have are the ones that you have to decide which notes to put. And my way of deciding that is like which is the closer note of the chord, because I'm playing the melody in a special register. The chord is a A minor, so I have this A minor shape. I will use those fingers, the fingers that I have close. So in some extent, we try to do an arrangement that actually we can play. That is, it's not to take the score. If you write down the music, the guitar arrangement in Sibelius, in any program, and you change the key, many of those things we will not be able to play it. Some of them we will, and it's going to be like very hard, like strange chord positions. And that's not quite nice, because the idea is to have a good time when you are playing. So make it easy and try to find like the closer notes. Okay, so for example, I will put notes in between now. If now you can put like a whole chord over there, it's a possibility, because for the hand it's close, it's easy. And that's a very important thing when we are doing this. Let's try to keep it simple in the beginning, and then we can explore new possibilities. Do I answer your question better? Yeah? Cool. Vinay Kemani, how to prepare for Asturias? I would love to know that. You know that Asturias is it's a piano composition. It's original for piano from Isaac Calvinus. You must hear about the composer. How to prepare for that? I think that's like quite a subject like for more like a proper classical guitar class that I haven't done like a classical guitar class so much time ago. But I kind of remember the tune, and I just for connecting this Asturias and connecting with this topic. Yes, just like Beda is saying. 1 5 6 4 5 3 1 1. I will turn this. So terrible. Well, my strings are like today is their birthday. It's like 5 years. I haven't changed my strings. Not 5, but already too much. So, if I study the Asturias thing in the way that we develop today, I will do something like this: 1 5 6 4 5 3 1 5 2. I will say it in Spanish, otherwise I will fall. I'm falling already. 1 5 6 4 5 3 1 5 6 4. Then I will try to play this in another key. For example, A minor. Okay? I'm showing you this because for me, this topic and the workshop that we did today is more about to be conscious about what you are playing in a musical way more than in a guitaristic way. Okay? Let me see some interpretation tips for South American music, please. Yeah, for me, it doesn't matter if it is South American music, if it is Bach, if whatever. You have to go to the sources. ¿Correcta esa palabra? To the roots of that music. And it happens a lot in South American music that all those music are like connected with their own folk music. Let me try to think in one example. For example, this one, for example, it's also a waltz, but it's a very special one because it's like a Brazilian waltz. And if we listen to the Brazilian waltz, they are quite inspired in fado. So we have two friends from Portugal over here that they really know about fado, about saudade, the Portuguese saudade. Let's not say anymore that saudade is from Brazil. It is also, but please, Portugal. The Brazilian way of playing the waltz is a very free way, a lot of rubato. And if you listen to the old guitarists, you will notice that. But if we are playing one Antonio Lauro's waltz must be rhythmic, must be like, if you can dance it, it's okay. The Brazilian one is like you have to float in some extent, okay? All these conclusions is not a thing that you learn in a book, like maybe it exists like a book of interpretation tips about South American music, but you are missing the most important thing of what we are doing. It's music, so we need to hear the music, we need to hear the roots of everything that you are playing. One time, many years ago, I was playing like one piece for guitar and flute that was composed by Ravi Shankar. And in those times, I didn't knew about rags, I didn't knew about all that. And now that I came here, I think that I will probably play that music in a very different way, just because now I know how is the ragtodi a little bit, like which one is the structure of the ragtodi, and to hear Indian music. Better if you study it, but at least to hear music. So if you want to improve your South American music playing, hear South American music. Not necessarily classical guitar South American music, folk music, okay? Let's see some more questions. Once the technique used to strike melodic string fast in piece such as studio, what's the technique used? Technique used to strike in Asturias. Everybody loves Asturias. I don't know, free stroke. It's like a kind of, I believe that you are speaking about that. But let's try to do the questions more related with what we just have done, okay? Let's see, Amito, while transposing a composition to a different key, a lot of the time it's not possible to stay with the same version of the chord. Yes, Amito, very good question. When we are transposing some music to another key, we win and we lose, okay? So we have to try to have a good balance in this relation, okay? In fact, sometimes we cannot have the same inversion. If I cannot have the same inversion, if you are speaking especially about the bass notes, I will try to have the root note. It doesn't matter which inversion is. If you need to change if you really need to change the bass, please give the root chord, okay? But we will always found one way. Let me show you. If I play this in D minor, take a look to the bass note. In the original key. I have E and G sharp going up, right? If I play this in D minor, I will have to do D, and the next bass note, you can do it here or here. So you have different octaves to choose. And sometimes one of this one, it will be the most proper one. I don't want to say it correct because I don't believe it that. I believe the proper one, the one that will lead you to a better option. So take a look to this. I will play first with this one and then with the other one. This one leads me to this place. And the bass note got crossed with the melody. I will play the other version. I will go to the bass of the 6 F sharp. And I have the G. And the melody is not crossing with the bass. So for me, the best option in that moment will be this jump. Okay, so let's go with the final questions. So to form a chord chart of a piece, we need to work on the melody and try comparing it with the notes of the key signature. Yeah, that's a very good question. For example, in this music, in the Antonio Lauro's piece, to form the chord chart, I think that it's better to look the lower part of the arrangement, to look for the bass and the inner notes. Usually all those notes are going to play the chord or most part of it. Now I will not play the melody. Okay, without melody. E and the G and the B. And if I look in my harmonized scale, I have E minor, that is the notes E, G, and B. So the first chord, E minor. After that, I have G sharp and E. If I start from the E, I have E, G sharp, and one missing note, that is the B. So we basically are imagining that B. In fact, that B appears in the melody right after. So in one moment, I have the three notes of the chord. For me, it's not so much about the melody, it's more about the comping lines that you have over there to have the chord chart, okay? We plan to, Peterson, yeah, that's very important. We would love to have more sessions like this. So this is the first experiment. This is new for you and for me. I think that I have given this workshop, but in Spanish, in my language. So it was a little bit more difficult. But this first experience is, just like Beda said, is one of many, and hopefully some other guitarists. I'm very sure that there are many guitarists that has a lot of things to share with all of us. So the idea is to be connected with Beda, because she's the big boss. Okay, she knows how to create all these moments. If I look to the number here, it says, ¿cómo se dice 50? 51 persons. Never imagined that we will have 51, and I'm very grateful of all of you to be here. Let's see, let me check. Beda, how many more questions do I answer? I'm not hearing you. You are writing? No?
I think you decide.
Okay.
I mean, we are ready to leave. If you want us to go, if you want us to stay, we can stay. We have, I mean, you decide. You're the boss.
Okay. Now I'm the boss. That sounds cool. If someone have to leave, don't worry. I will answer a little bit of the questions that we have here. When you play the waltz number 2, do you start with rest or free? Okay, that's always like a big question. Do I play with free stroke or with a rest stroke? I mean, if you attend to the Calcutta Festival, the Guitar Festival, David Russell says, guys, don't worry about that. Please practice rest and free, because they both are like a technique, and the idea is to have both possibilities. In my case, I do prefer like a free stroke, because that's my way of playing. But I have one friend that plays the whole waltz number 2 with rest stroke. For me, it's like not possible. I haven't developed that, but it's a good challenge, and I think that every guitarist that wants to go in a very professional way of playing and to have like a career as a classical guitarist should manage to play with any of these two techniques. For me, it has more sense like the rest stroke, because we have many chords and things. So if I have this chord and I play with rest stroke, I'm damping one of the string. And my priority, because I like harmony, I think, is that the chord it's over there, because to have the melody on the first part of our three-dimensional way of playing, it's not about rest stroke, is like ¿cómo se dice fuerte? It's like the most hard way of sound, and rest stroke is the softer. Also, David Russell was saying that, and that's so important. Like a quality sound of the rest and the free stroke is very important, like to have some balance, that you can play with rest stroke and very soft, and that you can play with free stroke and very hard. Okay? So, where I get this recording of the lesson? We will have recording. Yeah, it says recording. Cool. I think that
Yes,
Veda will answer
I'll
that.
tell you. I don't know what quality the recording will be. So if it's good, then I can put it up on YouTube. But if it's not so good, then we'll figure out how to make the next one good, and then we'll see how that goes. Ideally, it will be on YouTube. If I have your WhatsApp number, I can just send you the link when it's up. And if you want even a bad recording, if it's really bad, you still don't mind, then you can message me separately, and I'll make sure you get something.
That's better.
Yeah.
Very good. So please, everybody, write your number, email, name also for... no, the chat does that. This is my first time doing a Zoom. Thomas just told me that the quality is good because he's taking some classes through Zoom. So probably we will have a good quality. Inner notes. Inner notes. If you have melody here, and we have melody like a female singer, like very high. Okay? We have the bass player of the band. We have all this space in between. For me, inner notes are the things that are happening here. In some extent, is what the guitarist is doing in a rock or pop band, or the keyboard. Okay? Can we see Lily? I don't know where is Lily. You will bring Lily? Thomas is the man. He will bring Lily. Could I have some interpretation tip for great waltz? I haven't played that one, man. But just as I was saying before, if you are going to play Francisco Tárrega, if you are going to play music from the Romantic period, you will have to listen to the composers.
Okay, Guy, Moa, I'm going to say one thing. There are there are a few people here who have questions that are not about today's lesson. So maybe if you want Moa to answer them, if you want any private lessons from Moa, you can contact him here on Facebook and he can help you out there. So maybe that'll be easier. So if anybody's got more questions about this lesson, then we can
Yes,
address them here.
yes,
Yeah.
it would be nice. Well, Lily was part of this class, so
Yeah, really.
Lily is not here. I think that he's on a mission. So here we have another question. Breaststroke, picado, same. I believe so. Picado is the flamenco way of calling it, but that doesn't have anything to do with functional harmony for classical guitarists. So anyone, another question about functional harmony for classical guitarists? Or Lily? No? Let's count. Did I read everything? 51 including me? Yes. No, 52 then. Ramya, let me see. Could I have some interpretation? I already answered that. It's like, you want me to play it? I don't know. I never studied that piece. Excellent lesson. Just one question, suggestion. Yeah, that's cool. Please. Yes, for example, here we have one harmony question. Yes, we're starting, let's not say dominant still. Why? Let's just take a look to the melody and let's not speak about harmony, so let's not say dominant, that is the B7 tension chord, and let's not say anything about res, like the root chord, the key in the one is the music. Why is that? Because if we only analyze the melody, we can put several chords. I mean, we have like infinite chords for one melody. I can start with for example, tritone substitution, that is called. It sounds like something from hell, but it's not. And I'm starting with one F7 and 9 and sharp 11. It sounds more terrible, but it's quite easy. Less fingers. So about chords, we can have different harmonies. If you take a good look to the original score of Antonio Lauro, you have the repetition, the first repetition bar. Let me remember which moment. You play a E minor, and over that E minor, you are playing that theme. So the chord is not the dominant, is the root chord, but the melody is doing the melodic minor scale. Okay? For me, that's like the difference about that moment. But if you are playing this and you are doing a free version, please do the dominant. I usually do. I'm usually playing dominant over there. It sounds cool. Okay? And forever and ever. How to start to use extension chord like 9 or 11? Cool. In my experience, I mean, if you really want to know all of this, it's very cool to take some jazz books about harmony because they know a lot about this. I have learned a lot, like collecting one book, one jazz book around, and try to understand the classical guitar pieces that I was playing in those moments. Okay? If you have one friend that is a jazz player, please also do all these questions about the extension chords. My way of working on this is, again, to know very good which one is the melody, and any extension chord basically is putting more notes to the chords. If we are cooking, it's like putting more spices. If we are cooking and we put all the spices together, maybe the food is going to be like heavy, like crazy, right? So in this subject, in harmony, we have to think in notes just as space. Oh, someone up here. So I'm thinking on which one is the main thing of my food, of my music, that is the melody, and which notes are going good with the melody. For example, the melody, it starts on a B, and we know that thirds are very cool. Chords are made with thirds because they sound cool between them. So if I can manage to have extension notes that are in a third relationship with the melody, we can know that it will sound good and it will have a new spicy. For example, let's take the example of Sbulat. Sbulat is your name? Bulat? Sbulat? We will take one example. He was saying that we can start with the dominant. I really like to do that. And for example, dominant is B. Surgeon. Cool. If we start with the B7, I have that melody. If I add one B, let's count three, like a B, C, D. Let's add a D. In the chord, I already have the D sharp. So let's add one third, but going down. B, A, G. In this chord, I don't have the G, so let's see how this spicy works. It's a totally different tension. So I'm thinking in the note of the melody, and having that as a priority, I will add one note. Okay?
One question just. Why are you select the G note? You can use any other note for extension. Why you select G? The sound is very nice.
Yeah.
But how you know the G sound is would be very nice?
That's a good question. I don't know. Let me see. Okay. For example, if you take a look to the scale of E minor, we have the G on the scale, right? Okay. If we take a look to the B7 chord, we will have that that G is the 6th flat of the chord. And there is something special about the 6th flat, is that you get one color as an augmented chord. If I have B, D sharp, and G, it's the augmented way of sound. So over there you have one new color, one new spicy in some extent, okay? You can also, for example, use the G sharp, because it's also an extension of any dominant chord. And you will have like another effect. It sounds like kind of major in a moment. It's like suddenly you have some sun and then comes back the minor. So with the G natural, it's more in the minor color. Okay? All these extensions about the extension chords and adding 9s, 11, chord substitution, reharmonization. It's like a quite nerd thing that I really love to do. Like I really love chords, so I'm kind of always like changing the chords to the music. I hope the composers forgive me for doing that. But I always try to think that harmony is like it's not the most important thing. The most important thing for me is the melody. So if I change the chords, I'm changing like the emotional place of this music. Okay? A small example. Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. Everybody knows this one. I have been playing this like from 1 month, like with the KJC students from the Jazz Conservatory here, because we are working on that, on changing the emotional place of this music. And reharmonization, adding notes is a very cool way of doing that. So we all know that this sounds quite happy. Okay? But you can change the emotional place using another chords and chords that are related with the melody. So for example, now it sounds the same melody, but suddenly it's not so happy. It's a little bit like a little bit sad, okay? And that's the thing about harmony. You can change the emotional place of the music. If I play this like a Brazilian waltz, like more slow, it sounds quite melancholic, like sad. But if I play this in a major key, okay, it's almost like a new music. But you know that is the waltz number 2 of Lauro, because the melody, it has a particular shape. It has his own identity, okay? How to know about that? Harmony. 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 4. After doing all this nerd exercise, I think that we all can arrive there. Okay? So, books that you will suggest for today's topic. So hard for me, because I think that it doesn't exist. I haven't seen one book that is like this functional harmony, but especially for classical guitarists. But I will recommend Ralph Towner. He has one book about the technique, improvisation, and composition in guitar. I will write this down. Ralph Turner. I'm not very sure that I will take a look for the name of the book. Because that book was like a very nice one when I was studying all this. But I do recommend like any book about the jazz music that has like a chord, a very basic chord chapter, and it will be cool. Beda, she's so quickly. I arrived to the same one. Improvisation and performance technique for classical and acoustic guitar. not for resale. I love this book and I love this guy. His music is amazing. If you don't know him, please take a look to his music. He's the kind of guitarist that I think that is like on this kind of path. Like he has his own way of playing and understanding the music through harmony, and through that he managed to compose, to improvise, to do a lot of things. Most of you must know about Roland Dians, this French guitarist and composer. He's an amazing guy. Maybe it's not that famous that he was like invited to many jazz festivals. So you have a classical guitar that is a composer, that is an amazing arrangement, how do I say that? Arranger, thank you. And for me, he's a very good example about that. One time he was in Chile and he had a concert, and when that concert ends, he came out and there was many people outside that could not enter to the concert because it was full. And the guy took his guitar in the middle of the street, sit in one chair, and do a small concert for the guys that were over there in the street. The most probably is that the way that he plays the music inside the concert, it was going to be like quite different in the way that he plays it outside. Because if you look to videos of Roland Dians, he's always changing small things, but he's like keeping the important things: melody, rhythm, harmony. Okay? That's like the main goal of doing this kind of work. So, one last question. Manipur, for the knowledge you impart to us today. Oh, cool. Thank you very much. So, if we don't have any more questions, I have to say thank you to all of you, especially to Veda, to the Classical Guitar Society over there in Kolkata. I miss you so much. Very nice people over there in Calcutta, and I'm very sure that I will see you all again. Stay tuned, keep the contact, write your emails so Veda can let all of you know when we will have any other workshop by any other guitarist, and maybe you will see me again.